Boom! Another Mash and Journey barrel pick, virtual this time. We've been busier than all get out. I'll tell you, it's been an amazing. Well, I mean, heck, it's not even been a full week. We were down in, as most of you guys know, we were down in Kentucky, roughly this time, the end of last week, and there we were at Buffalo Trace. We were at Four Roses.
Don't get everyone all crazy.
I got Buffalo Trace on the mind. We were talking about it before, but we were at Four Roses on Thursday, which was a boatload of fun. We'll kind of get into some of that stuff possibly later. And then Friday we spent a good part of the day at Starlight. So that was a lot of fun. We ended up actually with two barrels, but two half barrels. So we kind of split it up a little bit to make sure that we got a couple of different things of a couple of whiskeys that we really enjoyed. So, but there'll be some other stuff later on tonight. But tonight we're going to focus on Taconic Distillery. Fortunately, we were able to get Brandon Collins, the head distiller for Taconic, to come on with us. We'll have him talk a little bit more about Taconic, what he does there, what his role is as the head distiller, and then talk a little bit about some of the whiskeys. Tonight we've got, Jason, we've got 4 Barrel Strength Ryes, and they're all roughly in that 5-ish year range. So we're getting into a nice range for some whiskeys. And in my opinion, and talking with a lot of other people, is I think far too many people kind of sleep on what it is Taconic is doing. And again, Brandon will talk a little bit more about what all of that is, but they're really doing some fantastic things between their bourbons and ryes, and their barrel aged maple syrup is absolutely fantastic. So we won't. I don't think we're going to be doing one of those, but anyway. So what else you got? Anything?
No, man. Yeah, the weekend was crazy with all the stuff that, I mean, more than anything, really the community getting to hang out with Darrell Stewart, Marty Party, as I call him now, Mr. Marty Party, Adelio Samuels, it
was a whirlwind. I mean, it was a fast. It was a fast couple of days, like it always is, but it was a good time getting to meet a lot of people. And again, that's all part of this, is like, hey, this is what we like to do. I mean, this one was a little bit different. We didn't get as many samples. So Jason and I are going to do this, and hopefully you guys will trust it enough to get you a good.
I mean, and like you said, Taconic is no joke. I mean, they are straight out of Brooklyn. No, I'm only kidding. They are from New York, but they're from a little bit upstate New York. But we'll get into that. Obviously, their distiller, their guest is on tonight, which will be really fun to get his perspective, because he's got a lot of great experience, as we'll find out. And I have had probably 3 or 4 Taconic picks that have been unbelievable. So I'm really excited to and if any of you guys have not had a Taconic pick, or just Taconic whiskey at all, you think this is another one of those whiskeys that we are bringing you that I think you'll be extremely surprised at how good it is. So
yeah, this would be one of those whiskeys, I would say, that if you're a little familiar or unfamiliar with it at all, trust this on this. Like I've given this rye whiskey and some of the bourbon, but specifically the rye, to some people blind, and they were absolutely blown away. So I think this is one that we're really excited to bring this to you guys. We got the opportunity to do it, and we kind of jumped at that opportunity. So
let's do this.
I'll stop talking. We'll bring Brandon on here in a second. Brandon will be he's the head distiller at Taconic Distillery. We'll let him kind of tell a little bit about his background, Taconic, what they're doing there, and a little bit more about the whiskey. So let me bring the man of the hour on right now. There he is.
How's it going, y'all?
Good. Thanks for jumping on with us tonight. We greatly appreciate it, and we appreciate the opportunity to kind of do a little collaboration with Taconic. So thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So we know you've got kind of a little interesting backstory. I guess before we kind of dive into the tasting tonight, I guess let's give everybody a little perspective of, kind of, a little bit more about you, and then we can kind of talk, a little more about Taconic itself.
Yeah. So I'm the head distiller at Taconic Distillery. Like you said, we're located in upstate New York in the Hudson Valley. My background is I have a degree in chemical engineering. So worked in a couple different industries before I got into alcohol. Ended up working at Buffalo Trace for about 4 years. There I was over top of Warehouse X. So we pulling in all the data collection on how to age barrels, like how different aspects of aging affects barrels. So sunlight, temperature, wind, humidity. Even we had temperature and pressure gauges inside the barrel, so we could see how the temperature and pressure was changing inside the barrel compared to the outside environment as well. We pulled a data point every 15 seconds, so we had a couple million within a few years time. So we compiling all that data and figuring out how that
you pulled like that many points over the course of years.
Yeah, so
my God.
We did 2 different experiments while I was there. So it was a 20-year experiment overall, but every 2 years we'd put new barrels in and change the objective of the experiment, so we could see how different things affected taste over those 2 years.
Wow,
holy crap!
Yeah, that's crazy. I guess you think of all that stuff, but I mean, I guess, and I can only assume that you're using, some, maybe not necessarily the technology, but a little bit of the techniques and things that you kind of learn through those kind of through that research, at least what it is you're doing at Taconic now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have the temperature control like that. So, that's something down the line that we'd like to do, but that's going to be pretty costly to do. But as we expand, that's something that we probably will look forward to see if we can add some steam heat to try to keep it a steady temperature over the winter. Because what we found out was the more you can kind of pump the heat into the barrel overall. So it's not so much the in and out of the oak, it's the overall heat over the time period that it's in there. So your overall average temperature over a 4-year period is going to affect how it ages more than anything else.
Interesting. Well, I guess let's kind of give everybody a little bit of an idea of what it is that, how long have you been with Taconic? A little bit more about your role and everything that you do there.
Yeah, so I moved up to New York from Kentucky about 4 years ago.
New York, baby. Just sorry. Just comes out of it.
Another distillery in between Buffalo Trace and Taconic, but they were kind of going all over the place. They wanted to do vodka, gin, everything. So I didn't get back to just doing whiskey. So Taconic was hiring. So I've been with them for about 3 years now, or a little over 3 years now. So I've been running production. I was brought in mainly to increase production, help where we can on quality, to maintain quality or increase quality on everything. And then just bring my knowledge of expanding and helping the distillery to grow.
Interesting. So in terms of like the whiskey itself, I guess, can you talk a little bit about some of the, maybe like some of the grain usage, like, what some of that stuff is, where you're pulling things from, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So we're a New York farm distillery. It's a classification that they have up here, so it allows us to have a tasting room where we can sell products directly out of our tasting room without having to go through a distributor. But to be that, we have to use at least 75% New York grain. We use 100% New York grain, so all of our corn comes about 6 miles away from us. And our rye is about a 30-minute drive from our distillery, and then our malted barley comes throughout the state of New York.
Wow. Boy, so you
so grain to glass, huh?
Yeah, well, we only grow some of the corn on our site, so everything else is just within the state. Yeah.
Wow, I mean, that's tight. I mean, being within 6 miles of the distillery, in any direction. I mean, to pull all your grain from that's pretty nice. I mean, that allows the terroir. I mean, do you believe? Let me ask you this: Do you believe in? There we go. I can see the smirk right away. I was just going to ask you, like, if Is that as much a thing in whiskey as it is like the wine world, or what are your thoughts there?
So there is terroir, but it's not the terroir that people think of. So people think of it's the grain. The grain from each area is going to taste different, but for the most part, the grain is going to be pretty close unless you have different varieties of grain. So if you use blue corn instead of yellow corn, of course, that's going to taste different. But for the most part, yellow corn is going to pretty much taste like yellow corn for the most part.
Okay.
And yeah, I've always heard that corn, if you're using yellow dent corn, whatever it may be, it'll usually taste around the same. I've heard there's more variation depending on the rye or even wheat that you're growing. Is that accurate?
Well, so there's there's more varieties of rye and wheat, and people don't really specify those in their recipe, right? So they don't specify it as much as they do yellow dent corn, right? So if you use the same, all right, so if I use winter rye is going to taste like winter rye pretty much everywhere. Or if you use red wheat versus white wheat, that's going to be different. And then so a lot of the distilleries are using different types of rye, but not specifying that. And so they're not growing the same variety of rye in those different areas. And that's why you'll have some terroir is what they call it. But most of the terroir is mainly, so it's going to be your mash bill is going to affect some of it. So like I can make the same mash bill as somebody else. So that's going to be pretty close, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many other things that go in it. So your yeast strain that you use, even just the natural yeast that you have in your environment around your distillery is going to be different than the natural yeast around other environments. It's not going to be much, but those are contributing a little bit of flavor to it. The proof that I distill off of my column still or pot still, or if I use a pot only or a column only, those are going to drastically change it. Even the way we age it is going to change it. So the temperatures that we're aging is going to change from the temperature of somebody else. The barrels that we use, even every barrel, like I can have the same distillate going into from the same batch because we make 4 barrels-ish of distillate a day. I can put those in 4 different barrels. Those 4 barrels are going to taste different because all that wood is coming from different areas, different parts of the tree. So most of the taste in your whiskey is coming from the barrel. It's about 70% of it. Yep. So that's going to be your terroir right there is just the difference of barrels. Yep. So when they say that, there's so many things that you have that are out of your control that you can't replicate, that you can't say, all right, the grain is what's different. Like, so.
Well, that's why I was always I'm always like surprised at the amount of people who, and again, I didn't even ask you as far as mash bills and whether you guys share that or not. But with all of that said that you just said there, that's why I've always been a bit surprised as to why people are unwilling to share their mash bill, only from the standpoint of, I mean, literally, like you said, you could have 4 barrels like right next to each other, and all 4 will more than likely have a slightly different profile to it. Yeah. So, it's like, well, I mean, there's so many other factors, barrel, yeast strains, barrel entry proof, all these things that factor into the flavor of that outside of just the mash bill. So,
yeah, I mean, I'll give the mash bill out anyway. I mean,
yeah, what is the mash bill on this, by the way?
So on our rye, it's 95.5, so it's the same as the MGP mash bill. I mean, so there's nothing that's going to stop you from, like, you can find anybody's mash bill and try to replicate. You're not going to. Like, like I said, there's so many other factors, and just running it by a different proof in my column or in my pot is going to change how it's going to taste. So I can have the same mash bill and run different proofs than somebody else and be drastically different.
Let me ask you this: as and Jason and I, we talk about this quite a bit, and we kind of get a little excited sometimes based on some of these things. But is barrel entry proof a pretty big deal to you, like in terms of the overall like complexity and flavor profile of like your whiskeys?
I mean, when I was at Buffalo Trace, we played around with some of the barrel entry proofs. For the style that we did there, we realized 125 worked best for us. Mm-hmm. If you are going to age in different age spots, then yes, different entry proofs will change. But I'm kind of lenient towards the 125 still, because that's just what we found that worked best for us there. And so I've kind of just stayed with that. I've played around with different entry proofs, and different entry proofs are going to pull different flavors out of the barrel. So it's going, you don't pull more flavor or less flavor and proofing it down after you dump it. That's not going to change it. It's the chemical compounds that you're pulling out come out at different proofs. So you're going to pull more of one flavor out at a certain proof than another flavor. So it's not so much that a lower entry proof retains more flavor. It just picks up different flavors.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate you sharing some of that stuff. I think it's always fascinating to get the perspective of the distiller, to their whiskeys and kind of what it is that, they like to do. And, I think everyone's got their own like little kind of, tricks of the trade that they prefer to kind of do. So it's always interesting. So
Brandon, if you could, before we get into the blind, if you could give us, I don't know, what made you want to go to Taconic? What stands out about Taconic, about the whiskey that's being made there, about the area, about what you guys are producing at this moment? What is it about it that you feel like that stands out and you feel like why everyone should be tasting your whiskey?
Yeah, I mean, I like Taconic because when I got there, we had a similar setup to Kentucky setup. So we have a Vendome column with a pot doubler, and I really believe in those systems. I know some people say like pot still is the only way to get like the full flavor of a whiskey, but that's somebody that doesn't know how to run a column still.
Shots fired.
So I can create all those same oils and all those same flavors that a pot still can on a column still. It's just, like I said, the proofs that you run it is going to vary drastically, and that's going to keep those flavors in there or push them out. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do to make those, to replicate a pot still. And I just like it because it's more efficient. We make a lot cleaner product and a lot more consistent product. So that way, when we're running, and you go and you grab a bottle of Taconic off the shelf, it's going to taste pretty consistent day in, day out. And you're not going to see a huge swing in flavor over time.
One of the things I would say about it, and this was like even early on and going back a couple years ago, was like a lot of us who, we taste a lot of different whiskeys. And then when you get something that's, kind of from like that craft distillery, you get a little bit more of that like kind of, youthful grain or whatever it may be, even on something that has a little bit of age. But like your stuff, I've really never gotten any of that. Like it's a very, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but like it's very traditional. Like it's very good and presentable. But you never get that feel of like, I think I might be drinking like a craft whiskey here.
Well, so that comes in more on how we distill it. So we distill at a higher proof coming off our doubler. So we're up at the 150 range right now. Wow. And we specifically do that because we know we're making a younger whiskey. So we're crafting it where we're taking out some of those harder to age chemicals in the whiskey, basically because we're running up at that higher proof. So those chemicals won't carry over into the final product. And that's why they don't taste as young as other whiskeys would. So as we grow and as we know we're getting older whiskey, we're slowly going to change that proof point to bring it similar to what you would see in a Kentucky distillery in the 130s to 140 range coming off your doubler, because then we'll be at a 6 to 8 year old whiskey. So,
all right, patrons. So patrons, you heard it. We have a Kentucky distillery set up in New York. You used to work at Buffalo Trace. We're basically drinking Thomas H. Handy.
Yes, you heard it from the horse's mouth. This is that. So Taconic Rye is the Thomas Handy of
the Northeast.
So the Northeast. So, all right, what do you say?
That's a high corn rye. So ours is also rye with no corn in it.
Yeah, that's a high corn rye. Yeah, so
yes. Well, what do you say we dive into?
Yeah, man, let's do this. I'm ready to try. I've been smelling them for the last 20 minutes here. Let's
get rid of these little toppers here. I gotta fire those things off. I let them open up a little bit before. So okay, so just to let you guys know, if anybody is following along at home, our first sample is going to be barrel number 824, and it comes in at 117.5 proof. So all of them have really nice proofs. I'm assuming with what we've got here, there's I mean, it's all going to be, you know, barrel strength in the end. When we bottle it, it's basically give or take what we're getting tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's all your whiskeys are non-chill filtered, correct?
Yep, we don't chill filter anything.
So we're looking at 95.5. What's the age approximately?
So 2 of them are a little over 5 years, and then 2 of them are just under 5 years.
Yeah. So Jason, so the I don't
want to know which one is older or not. We'll find out later.
Well, there's really only two ages. There's one group of one age and one group of another age.
Yeah, that's fine. It was whatever we pick, we'll find out.
Oh, well, I already know. So
well, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, okay, all right.
And then let's see what else. What are we looking at barrel char on these?
So we use char 3 on everything. We
char
use
3?
Independent Stave Company, so they're one of the largest cooperages in the country. Almost all your big brands use Independent Stave outside of basically Brown-Forman, which does their own. So we use a Cooper Select barrel, which is an air dry. So the staves are air dried for at least 18 months before they're made into a barrel. So that washes out some of those tannins. So it shouldn't be as stingy or like that dry bitterness taste a little bit to the whiskey because you don't have those tannins in there.
A lot of the folks in the chat are calling out your maple finish or saying how outstanding it is.
Yeah, so that's a big barrel pick for us is the 115 proof maple. So it's our bourbon that we take, and then we send the bourbon barrels out to a local maple syrup supplier where they age maple syrup in it for about 6 months. We get them back, and then we finish the whiskey for 6 more months. And
we'll have to work on one of those down the road. So I know when I was talking with oh geez, what is her name? My God, I forgot. It was through Instagram, and I think it was the owner.
Terroir?
Yeah. And she was saying that there was something right now about either like a limited supply of that or whatever it was, or so that wasn't an option right now.
Yeah, we've seen a really big increase on the maple over the last 2 years. So
I'm sure
we're trying to stay ahead of it, but it's
tough. You can only make it so fast, and it only ages a day at a time. So
I mean, like we've had over the last 2 years, we've probably tripled it in our sales. So overall on all of our products, so it's kind of hard to keep track of that when you triple.
That's a good problem. That's a good problem.
So. All right, Scotty, why don't you call out the proof on this one for the?
All right, so proof on this one again, 117.5. I won't tell you the age because Jason doesn't want to know. So. Yeah. Oh boy, I mean, it's just that. I mean, it's that I know that it's a 95.5, but it's like that classic like mint, and there's a little bit of that orange spice that's there on it.
This is coming off actually a little bit sweeter than I would think for 95.5 rye.
Yeah, that's a good.
We're getting
call.
up in that 5-ish range. Rye. So it depends on how old the rye is. So when you do a 95.5 rye, most of those are the 2 to 4 year range. In that range, the rye is going to be a lot spicier. And then once you get past 4 into the 6 and 7 year range, that's where it starts to convert to a little more sweetness. So you get a little more well-rounded rye instead of that big, bold, spicy mint flavor that you kind of get.
Yeah, so it's like an Andes candy. I mean, like a nice little mix of like chocolate and mint.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I get like a really big hit of like a vanilla custard on this one too. So
yeah, definitely some orange spice in here, which I love to get. A little bit of black tea, honey.
And I wouldn't say like you called it before, like it's not overly like heavy rye. Like you're not getting that big, heavy like rye kick. You're getting a little bit of that, but it's not dominating at all. All right, let's give this one a try. What do you think?
Right, cheers, man. Cheers, Brandon. Thanks for coming on with us.
Cheers.
Oh man, what is that flavor I just got?
Man, is it like a little bit of like an almond?
Yeah, I'm getting a nuttiness.
Yeah, there's a little bit of like as soon as you said it, I was thinking the same thing. There's a little bit of like
toasted sesame seeds.
Yeah, it's like it's something toasted. That's a good call. Yeah, a little more rye spice on the back of the palate as the finish kind of develops. That's got a nice spice. Sweet up front. You do get that little wave of spice on the back for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The spice is just woo.
Yeah.
I'm loving that. That is just black pepper.
Yeah.
I call it the Pop Rocks effect, where it just tingles the back of your back of your palate there.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like drinking this, like, I mean, you would never be able to convince somebody that, I shouldn't say never, but I think people would be really hard pressed to like tell someone that this is a rye from New York. Like, I mean, just tasting it, I don't think many people would guess that. So that's nice. That's really nice. I think it's drinking like just about like its proof, like what you would expect. Definitely once the finish kind of develops.
Yeah, it's got a nice spice profile to it.
Yeah, it is. It is sweet on the palate. Then that rye kicks in. The proof is there. It's really got nice layers of how drinkable it is. I like that in a
and that toasty note is really nice.
It's interesting. I don't know if I've ever gotten that on a rye whiskey like that before. Not that. Interesting. All right. So it's like a toasted almond.
Yeah, I'm just getting pure, like it's so distinct for me. Toasted sesame seeds.
Yeah, it's not overly sweet. Like I don't want you guys to think it's like overly sweet. It's like just that right amount of sweetness, but the layers of that are really, really nice.
Yeah, that's a beautiful rye. That's just
it really is. I mean, great proof. It drinks maybe not quite like 117. I mean, there's not a lot of that, I guess, New York hug, let's call it. You know, there's not a lot of that.
I mean, I'm getting spice, but I could see how that might fool people because, again, proof and spice can trip people up.
Yep.
So that definitely can be a thing. This I'm getting all spice though. I'm not getting like this lingering like burn at all. It's really nice.
No, it really is nice. Really is nice. So, all right. What do we got?
Jesus Christ, Scott! When did you become the soccer coach of the Ladybugs?
Oh, jeez. What is? I don't even understand the reference.
The Ladybugs. That's the from.
I know. I know it was like a kid's soccer show, but I'm. Is there something I said that made me sound like a soccer coach or something? I'm not really sure where he was going with that. All right. Well,
let's see. Hank Butt says, just for the record, I had an issue a few months ago, and Taconic customer service is superb. Love my hat and stickers. There you go, Hank Butts.
All right.
I'm sure Brandon took care of that for you.
We're a pretty small company, so we only really have 5 full-time employees. Mm-hmm. So it's our 2 owners, Paul and Carol Ann, our sales manager, Sean, myself, and then my assistant distiller. So
now, are Paul and Carol Ann, are they from? Are they originally from New York, or did they?
Yeah,
they decide to move the distillery from somewhere else.
Yeah, Paul is originally from Westchester County. So grew up there. Went to college in DC at Georgetown, and then worked in basically a hedge fund world on Wall Street, and then moved. So they have the spot upstate, and was trying to decide what to do with it, and decided to build the distillery up there. And then Carol Ann, she's originally from Rhode Island.
Oh.
All right, let's go to
looks like Simon Parada, man. He's into a little bit of ball busting, it looks like.
Sugar Kitty says, if we visit the distillery, can we take a weekend side trip to the old Rhinebeck Aerodrome for the flying World War I biplanes? Worcestershire, right out of Shrek, he said. Ethan Turk. Oh shit. All right, I'm going to the second one here.
Yep. All right, sounds good.
Definitely a little less. This one to me is even coming off a little bit more sweeter.
Yeah, I'm still getting some really nice. That's Swami is who that is. Of course, now that's all right. Cool. All right, good.
That makes sense now.
That makes a lot of that makes I feel much better about myself now. Good. I thought Simone there or whatever.
Simone.
That's what I'm going with. It's Simone now. The rest
Simone
of
Parrot.
Simone.
This one I'm getting more of a like a glaze, like an orange.
Yeah.
More of like an orange glaze on this one.
There's a little bit of like a pastry on this one too, like a kind of a donut glaze, I guess.
Yeah, maybe like a scone with an orange glaze.
That's kind of a good call.
What should we call it? Panera Bread makes these orange scones that I love. So it's reminding me of that a little bit.
Don't get me going on Panera.
Wow, what happened to you at Panera?
I think it's overrated for what you get, but I don't want to offend. In case Panera was looking to sponsor the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, I don't want to.
I can't. You have a problem with friggin' Panera? I'm just learning about this now. It's over.
Yeah, sorry. I've got other secrets I'll reveal along the way. So.
Oh my God. I hope you're not basing it on the pizza you ordered, because that's not real pizza that they.
No, not. Okay. Well, I mean, Domino's is real pizza, by the way. Okay.
Domino's. It's terrible.
I think there's a little more rye spice on the nose on this one, I'd say, but still that sweetness that's there.
Yeah, I get a little more of the rye grain on this one. So
yeah. All right, let's give this one a try. Cheers.
Wow, that came off a lot softer than the first one.
Boy, you know what? I think does two feel like more oily though?
I don't know, but I'm not getting the flavor punch I was getting from the first barrel. It might be a little bit more oily, but
yeah, I think there's a little bit. I think this is a little bit less sweet on the palate, and a little bit more towards those like leathers and tobaccos on this one. I think. I don't think this is as sweet as the first one.
It's good. It is rich.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's coming off. And I'm definitely getting more oak on this. A little bit. That spice is still there. There is a sweetness, but not nearly as intense as the first one.
No.
Good finish on this one.
I mean, it's pretty nice though.
I like it, but the palate isn't. It's not giving me like enough flavor. Like the first one immediately hits you with a lot of flavor. The second one I'm getting flavor, but I want a little bit more of that sweetness to kind of balance out the. Scott makes the best pizza bagels. He does. He actually really does. He makes the best pizza.
Brandon, if you knew Simone here as Swami as what he was, all these references would make sense. Like he and I have kind of like busted each other, as you know what, for a long time. So that's why he's coming across as the true guy from Montreal. So
yeah, apparently Pop him don't watch him. Yeah, apparently Scott was mugged at the Panera, and he got hit over the head with a loaf of French bread that was a little too crusty. Just got knocked the fuck out.
Jesus, I tell you, wasn't quite that far. Man, that whole just really not enjoying Panera thing's kind of gone off the rails a little bit. All right, Brandon. So what's your
thoughts on New York pizza? What's your favorite pizza?
Oh man, so there's so much good pizza up here. I mean, that's the one thing. New York City will ruin you on pizza and bagels. Like,
right.
Once you live here, like you can't get pizza or bagels almost anywhere else. Like,
yeah.
I mean, even like an average pizza here is probably better than most pizza everywhere else.
Well, that's true. Yeah, it's like New York pizza just
okay
pizza is like better than most. So
yeah. I mean, I got lucky. Like in Southwest Ohio, there's some pretty good, decent pizza joints, but it's a complete different style there than it is up here too.
There's some good pizza in Columbus, I will say. It's not It's not a.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some good ones.
Yeah.
Crusty bread. Yeah, that's actually what what came up on the news story when they broadcasted it. We had a crusty bread assault at Panera.
Aye.
Yeah, and then once you live in New York, you'll never go Panera anyway because
my poor mother just moved from New York to here in Ohio after being in New York for her entire life.
Yeah,
and she's having a hard time with the pizza. She does like a couple of them, but yeah, she's having a hard time. I'm like the first pizza she was ever introduced to here in Ohio was fucking Donato's. So,
oh jeez.
Yeah, Brandon knows. He's not even saying anything. He just laughs because he knows exactly how shit that pizza is.
Well, tell her to go down to like the Dayton area and go get Marion's pizza and see if she likes that.
I've heard about that pizza. So
that's probably the best pizza in Ohio. If I
Deborah's my new homegirl. Yeah, see, that was the thing when I lived in New Jersey. Like, I mean, literally, I don't even think we ever called it pizza. It was just always pie all the time.
Yeah.
So it was just.
Darrell Stewart, Darrell, man, I love you, man, but that is not pizza. Lou Malnati's is not pizza. That's deep dish. That's not pizza. It's pizza, but in a different format. You got to separate that from like regular New York pizza.
Yeah, I would agree. Those are two completely different styles. I mean, that's literally night and day. And you have to like each one of them for what they are. But yeah, I mean, when I grew up, or I should say grew up, when I lived in New Jersey for a bunch of years, it was always what kind of, pie. I mean, that was just what you referred to it as. I mean, probably by you guys too, but
next time I go to Manhattan, I am doing the classic. I'm going to buy 2 New York slices. I'm going to stack one on top of one another, fold it up, and walk down the street and eat my 2 slices. That's how you
had to fold your pizza. Like, people would always have the debate with New York style pizza. Do you fold it? Like, if you don't fold it, like, I don't know how you're eating that. Like, you've gotta fold it.
Well, listen, if you're just eating like at a table, you could kind of lift it up and eat it. But if you're walking, you gotta fold it. It's the only way to do it without making a mess.
I've
eats at a table in New York though. Everybody is walking and eating.
Yeah, everybody's walking and eating. So, yeah.
Well, I folded everything. I was a folder. It didn't matter if I was sitting or standing or walking or driving. It didn't matter.
Yeah, I like to load it up with cheese and hot pepper. Oh my god!
Now, all right, let me. Since we're on pizza here, real quick. I mean, we always had ricotta on pizza. Always.
Oh, what did you just say?
On a white pie?
Ricotta, whatever you call it.
Oh my god.
What do you call it? What do you call it?
It's ricotta.
Real. Hey,
ricotta.
Don't make me time you out on your own live stream, okay?
Ricotta.
Ricotta.
I like ricotta on my manicotti.
Yes.
And then I eat my lasagna.
See, lasagna. I don't say lasagna. I don't say that, but.
All right, let's go to the third one. What's the proof on the third one, man?
All right, proof on the third one is we're jumping up pretty good here. This is 123.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, we're jumping up, and it does smell like it's starting to get like a little bit more richness and stuff to it. So
yeah, and also, I mean, compared to the other two, these are a little darker.
Yeah.
I'll say he's got a little bit more dark.
It is a nice color. I don't know if you guys can see. It's a really nice color on that.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, 123, and the age of this is
a little over 5.
Wow. Yeah, this is a nice, really nice nose. I think this is a little bit more in line with what one is. A little more of that like kind of like vanilla cream and all of that. Regat.
Regat.
All right. I'm timing anybody else who says anything about cheese or regatta or anything like that. I'm deleting you guys permanently.
Not regatta. You're not in a boat.
Regatta. I know what a regatta is. I know what a regatta is. Jesus.
Oh shit.
I'm quitting this damn club. Oh man, that's so nice. I think this is a lot more of that, like kind of those like orange sickles, those like little those like cream, those orange like pops or whatever they are.
Totally agree. These are like those old like Fred Flintstone ice cream push pops you used to get.
Man, that's really nice.
Just
That's
vanilla and orange and creamsicle with like some mint wrapped in there.
Ooh. All right, someone time out Will Henderson.
Munster.
He mentioned Munster.
What's Munster? Like the cheese?
That's really nice. I'm assuming that's nice.
Oh, there we go. This has the oiliness of the second one, but way more going on in the palate.
Man, that's like sweet and spice and everything nice. Man, that is really.
That's nice. That's rich too. That's
a lot on that finish. That's a lot of orange. That's a lot of that orange cream on that. Man, that's really nice. Nice spice though. Nice. I still wouldn't say like for 123 proof, you're not being blown away by the proof part of it. It's there, but you're not getting killed by the proof.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's the difference. Like Barrel 1 that we tried, the first one, that was way more spicy and could come off as a higher proof, but it's actually the lowest proof of the bunch.
Yeah. So. This still has really all those really nice layers. Boy, a lot of orange on that. Still nice. Some nice oak on that as well.
I get a little caramel too on here. It's nice.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that.
Man, it's getting sweeter and sweeter. Vanilla, the vanilla custard's starting to come out.
Yeah.
A little bit of a like creme brulee too. On a rye. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's rich. I mean, I think everything we're describing, I mean, it's very viscous, it's oily and rich. Man, you could get in trouble with that right there.
Yeah, that does not drink 123 proof. That's insane.
No, that's easy to drink right there. And
Brandon's like, I know, I made that shit.
And what a great finish on it too. That's the nice part about this.
Yeah, this has a long, lingering, like complex finish. It's not just spice, it's not just heat. No. It's got a lot going on. Man, the last one has a lot to live up to here because the third one's pretty good. Tom Harper says, sincere question. Kind of new to bourbon and whiskey communities and looking for places where people trade. Anyone know of anything good?
Oh boy.
I mean,
if you want to trade, fine. Stay away from the secondary market. If you're new to it, don't buy into all that. If you want to get into trading,
I would find a community within your community. You know, a bourbon group or a whiskey group that you can do trades with. I would,
Yeah.
Just drink
search exactly.
Just drink it. Keith Schmidt, I know in the chat, and he's a huge fan of Taconic. He was the first one that sent me a bottle of Taconic to try, and I was blown away. I know he's a big fan. Keith Schmidt's in New York, so I want to thank him for kind of opening my eyes personally to what Taconic has going on.
I tried it pretty early on. It was one of those things where kind of early on in with my channel, I was doing a lot of kind of that craft stuff. This is probably going back maybe 3 or 4 years ago even. They sent a bottle and I was blown away. I was like, holy cow, this is just a really nice, it was bourbon at the time. And it would just caught me off guard. It was really, really nice. And then I've had the Barrel Strength Rye, the maple finish bourbon.
I got to try one. I did get a sample. I got a sample of Bourbon Pursuit's maple finish bourbon they did. And that was fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was really.
Brandon, what else do you get? What else comes out of when we talked about the rye? We've talked about the maple finish. What else are you guys crafting?
So those two, and then our bourbon are our biggest brands right now. But later on this year, we'll have a wheated bourbon that we'll be bringing out, and so have a single malt that we'll be bringing out. So those are two brand new SKUs that I helped develop the recipes on. So.
A malt whiskey.
Yeah, so
malt whiskey and a wheated bourbon.
Yep. So I got to play around, have some fun with those, and bring all my knowledge that I had on. Because we're at Buffalo Trace, we were always experimenting on different mash bills and different things on our mini still. So we were constantly playing around with stuff. So I learned a lot of techniques there and figured out what I could bring into those two worlds. And
yeah, I went on a tour at Buffalo Trace, and they took us into the room with the mini still and saw all the different like kind of the mini fermenters and everything that they were working on. That room was insane. I mean, the smells in there was crazy.
Yeah. Those used to be old like yeast tubs, so they used to propagate their own yeast on site back in the day.
Yeah,
and we didn't use them for the longest time for anything, and then now we're running the mini still all the time now. So that started about 6 years ago. We started taking all those and using those as little mini mash or fermenting wells and mash tubs and everything.
Besides the maple finish, you guys have any? DC was asking if you have any other finishes you're working on.
Yeah, so we do a couple other finishes. So we have a cab finish. That's probably our next biggest seller, but maple by far is our biggest seller of finishes. We probably do like 3 cab finish barrels a year versus like 30 to 40 maple finish barrels a year.
Oh,
yeah. And then we do a cognac finish, a Madeira finish on the rye. We got the Japanese Mizunara oak that we do a finish on our bourbon. We've been doing that 2 barrels every 6 months. So
how do you like working with that?
So it's different than the way most other people use the Mizunara oak. So it was a local guy. He did it's called Titan barrels. So it's a metal shell with American oak heads. And then I have Mizunara staves on the inside of that metal shell.
Oh,
so that way it's touching all 4 sides of the Mizunara. Because Mizunara is very temperamental and leaks a lot. For me, I don't have that issue because the Mizunara isn't trying to hold liquid back or anything. So right now what I do with those is every time we dump the barrels, I'll take those staves out, shave them down, retoast and rechar them and put them back in again.
Oh,
so
cool. Man, right. three is really good. 3 is very good.
What's the proof on the last one, Scotty?
124.
All right, so we're just going up 1 tick here.
Yep, 1 tick.
All right.
Really nice color. You guys can probably see here again.
Yeah, this one might be the darkest one. My goodness, that's really dark.
Do you want to know the age of this one?
Might as well. Yeah.
So this was 1917. So we're now getting a little over 5 years. So
a little over or just under? Just under 5 years, right, Brandon?
A little over on that one.
A little over, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see, 22 minus 17, 5, carry the 5, quarter to 2 minus. Yep. Jesus. Like just a little bit.
Do math. It's Hawk math.
Jesus.
I love it. Oh man, this one, the nose on this one is very different, but in a good way. This is where I'm getting the oak and the leather and
this one right here. The nose reminds me more of 2. Like 1 and 3 were like on the sweeter side. 2 and 4 seem to be a little bit more towards that heavier rye style. Like in terms of the bite that you get a little bit from a rye.
Yeah, I could see that. Now I'm hoping if 4 has a little bit more punch and flavor than 2 does. We might have an old showdown at the OK Corral here between 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's still
I'm loving the nose on this. It's like chocolatey, it's rich,
I'm not getting as much like orange or like that minty that I was getting on 3.
Exactly.
Like 3 so far is a very crushable, higher proof like rye whiskey, I'd say, but and 4 I think is a little bit more on the traditional rye, a little more herbal, some chocolate, some more oak on that one.
Yeah, when you go back to 3, I mean it's like an insane amount of just orange and coming off of this one.
Yeah, it really is. And
I gotta try this on the palate. So
and these are only 3. If it's the same area, it looks like it is. like these are only 3 barrels away from each other. So, I mean, like we were talking about before, how different it can be, them only being, you know, actually 4 barrels apart. But yeah. All right. Oh man.
Ooh. Dude.
I would say there's a little bit more of that, a little bit more of 3 on the palate in 4 than there was on the nose. Like you got more, I'd say traditional 95.5 rye on the nose, but that really nice, it's very oily too. It's nice,
extremely oily, and it has a little bit more punch and flavor than 2 does.
Yeah.
To me. I mean, that's really nice. Man, the viscosity on this is unreal. Yeah. Brandon's like, give me a pot still in the column still. I'll make something.
Yeah. That's really nice too. Yeah,
and that's the highest proof one. That thing drinks like 105 proof.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, these are dangerously easy to drink. That's for sure. I mean, they've all, in terms of the proof point, they've all drank pretty similar. It's just a matter of how much of that kind of like rye spice you're getting on some of these.
Man. All right, Scott, you want to sip through them real quick, and we'll again just on their own, and we'll kind of narrow it down here.
Yeah, let's do that. All right, let's do this. I mean, can we eliminate at least one from the deal?
I would eliminate number 2.
Yeah, I would say that's probably I think it's had the least amount going. So we'll
823 is out.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna go back to. I mean, 1 was interesting, but I just want to go back to it. It was definitely still on the sweeter side.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting now after tasting these to see maybe how 1 is kind of shaken out.
Darrell Stewart, he goes team number 6. I'm like from the man who chose number 9, blind.
I wish we could have put a sticker on the 4 Roses one, because you could have done that. What was that robot? Wasn't it number 6 in that robot movie? I think he was like Robot 6 or whatever he was called. Oh no, that was 5. That was number 5 is alive. Never mind.
You mean Johnny 5?
Yeah, Johnny 5. Yeah, Johnny 5. No, I was off by 1. Yeah, see, I mean, I think 1 is good. I think 1 is still good, but I think when we start going to 3 and 4, I think 3 and 4 where we're going to get a little bit more of that richness.
And one is getting nuttier as I go back to it. So
it is. There's a lot of that almond. Sorry, are you eliminating 1?
Yeah, so let's go between 702 and 706. It's really I'm going to pour a little bit more of 702 here. So 702 is the kind of the creamsicle bomb.
Yeah, I would agree.
706 is more like that thing tastes like it could be like a 10-year-old rye.
Here's kind of an interesting question, I guess, for the guys in the chat. I mean, a lot of the people in here are part of our whiskey club. So I guess the question to you guys would be, for a rye whiskey, do you lean towards something that's a little bit more like how we've kind of described 3 and 4? Like, which one of these so far, based on what we've described, would you kind of want to lean towards? Because this could go either way. Like, these are two different kind of ryes. Like 3 is definitely on the sweeter, more creamsicle side of things, where 4, I think, is a little bit more on that still traditional but complex with still some of that what you get in 3, but just not as dominant with the orange and the mint and all of that.
I mean, of course, Tight Cut says blend 3 and 4. There's always the guy that wants us to blend the barrels and see what happens. We'll do that at the end. But as I'm going back and forth with these, I keep going back to 702.
So do I. I mean, there's just something about it that it's got that sweetness. There's still the lingering spice, but man, that like orange creamsicle is so nice on it, with that like kind of candied mint and a little bit of chocolate, like an Andes candy.
Yeah, and you still get number 4 when you go back to it compared when you're coming off 3. Again, it's I think it has a little bit more punch it has more punch than number 2, but it's still like on the finish, man, it just drinks almost too easy. And there's
number 4 you're saying?
Yeah, and I'm just like I'm getting that complexity and the oiliness that makes it seem like it's older than it is. But just, man, I keep going back to it.
Man, I mean, honestly, I wish like one of them wouldn't be as good, so that would make this decision a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think three overall just has the most complexity, honestly. When you're looking from beginning to end, sweet, spice, orange, creamsicle, a little bit of chocolate, and then you got like that lingering spice in the back end. I think 3 does it all, man. Barrel 702. That's my vote.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of leaning that way too. I was just looking to see what Yeah, see, like this is a tricky thing. Like the weirder the better. The thing that I think we have to take into consideration is that at the end of the day, there's a lot of people who don't like weird. Like
there's good weird and there's bad weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to, like bad weird is like the weird that's completely off profile in a bad way. You can have completely off profile in a very good way.
Yeah.
But like weird is, you can't just pick it because it's weird, just because it might not be something that everybody enjoys.
I mean, yeah, we won't name the distillery, but we were at a place where it like literally tasted like you were like drinking like this nasty mushroom soup. It was one of them.
Yeah, I remember that pick.
That was a weird ass whiskey. I'm like, I don't know what this is, but
that barrel.
Someone told me that they made that like a gift shop pick.
Oh God.
And then people were like, "Are you serious? Like this is what you're putting in your gift shop? Is this?"
I'd have been disappointed if I was looking for like a nice easy sipping what that was, and then I got mushroom soup as a bourbon. Oh no, thank you.
Dude, number 3 is delicious.
I would agree. I mean, three is really nice. I mean, I think 3 you're getting that like that mint, the chocolate, that like orange creamsicle, really nice rye, good finish.
There's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that nuttiness in number 3 too. It's pretty complex.
Man,
number 4 though is like super crushable. It's just on the palate. Oh my! It's like Brandon. How the hell is this 124 proof and this one drinks like 100 proof? It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the way I said, where we distill it and cater it towards that age. That's helping.
Yeah,
make it seem like it's not burning so much. Because usually when you get that high octane burn like that, it's just where it hasn't aged very well, and that's what causes a lot of that burn off.
Yeah, 3 has everything I want in a rye, including some good viscosity. So 702, Scott, what do you think, bud?
Yeah. I mean,
Did you just go back to number 4?
I did, but I think 4 is much more of a traditional rye, like especially 95.5. I definitely don't think you get the sweetness of 3. And again, I would say 4 is rich and complex with a lot of that. But it's more of like, I would say, a rye drinker's rye. Like you'd have to really enjoy, 3, I think fits everybody. I think you get the sweetness, the spice. It's a great finish, really nice lingering spice on the finish. Yeah, I mean, I would, my vote, I think would be 702 as well.
Yeah, for me, 4 doesn't really drink like a rye. 4 drinks like a really easy sipping, like spicy bourbon. I'm not really sure, like a high rye bourbon.
Really?
Yeah. 3 drinks more like a rye to me. 4 drinks real easy, and it's oily as hell, but it just drinks real easy to me. Maybe just because I'm coming off of 3.
Maybe. I mean, they're both fantastic. They're they're just very different, but both very
Yeah.
good ryes.
Yeah, I'm going with 3 though, because 3 has just like everything I want in a rye, including great viscosity as well. So, all right, Brandon, sign us up for 702, man.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
702. I think 702 is the winner. I hope that says 702 that's on there because it looks like 702.
Okay.
But
Yeah, just send a picture of it and we'll make
Okay.
sure.
I have good handwriting on mine. It's clearly 702.
well, that was because I did it.
You wrote this?
I did.
Wow, you have nice handwriting, man.
You're welcome.
You spelled barrel wrong, but nice handwriting.
Did I spell it with 2 L's?
You spelled it with 4 L's, you jerk.
Oh, did
I'm
I?
kidding.
Four L's.
Barrel.
4 L's. Oh god, that's funny.
This is so good. Yeah, number 3.
Nice.
I think you guys will love it. Yeah, William Stone. We actually have a rare character pick coming. So
Yeah, we do.
yes, we
Yeah,
do.
number 4. I don't know. That's a good kind of call. Like I don't know, like a little bit more of a boo rye. I don't maybe.
Yeah, there's something just very like easy sipping about it for a rye. I mean, it's good.
Well, and like what we was talking about, how barrels from the same batch can taste different.
Yeah.
Those 2 barrels, 702 and 706, are the same batch.
Yeah, but 706 to me, for whatever reason, it's just a little bit more muted on the palate. I'm not getting the punch and the flavor that 3 has, which is crazy.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it has the. I mean, for me, I mean, and maybe that's a good point. Maybe it doesn't necessarily drink like a rye whiskey or a high rye, but there's just not the sweetness. There's a lot more, I think, spice on 4 than 3.
Yeah, I mean, 4 is good. It's just it just comes off a little bit flat compared to 3. So I'm gonna.
He's got a lot going on. So
yeah, 702. So barrel 702 is our choice. I'm gonna now blend 4 and 3 because that's what the people want. We'll see what this does. Maybe we'll get a blended barrel. We'll get
I've got
the
more
first small batch rye pick from Taconic.
I've got more 4 left than 3, but let's see what 34 has to offer.
Ooh, this is really nice on the nose, I'll tell you that. Holy hell. This is Sazerac 18, Brandon, I'm telling you.
Yeah, we're signing up for both of them then and blend.
Oh man, I don't like what it did on the palate. I don't think it does. I don't think it gets very like muted almost. There's just not the
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the four takes over.
Yeah, it kind of mutes. It just becomes more muted and not very interesting. Yeah,
Like if we were to redo this blend, we would need way more 3 than 4.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
3,
equal parts. The 4 just takes over.
Yeah, 3 got swallowed up by the amount of 4 I had in there. So
all right, everyone, barrel.
This was kind of like 3 and 4. This would be like equivalent to Darrell Stewart choosing the wrong barrel at Four Roses. Sorry, D.
Or Darrell. So yeah,
Darrell's never gonna live that down. He's gonna be number 6 in my book for the rest of his life.
Yeah. So Brandon. So last weekend we were lucky enough to do a pick at Four Roses, and we had a group of 6 guys doing the pick, and we got to taste all 10 recipes blind. It's nice because they cover the front of the barrel, so we don't know what recipe is in what barrel.
Yeah.
So we tasted through them all, and it came down to 2 numbers: glass number 9 and glass number 6.
Yeah.
And then we're like, "Can you set this up blind for us?" And we go outside while they're setting it up, and I'm like, "All right, quick poll: who wants number 9?" 5 of us raise our hand. Who wants number 6? Poor Darrell in the chat. I'll take number 6. I want number 6. It's so good. We're like, oh my god, the only dude that wants number 6. We go in, do the blind.
Yeah,
that's what Darrell picks. Number 9.
Number 9. It became pretty unanimous, even though in the blind it was kind of like it was pretty interesting because it was between like blue and black. That was all we knew. And then we were like, so badly you chose the one that you thought was gonna stand out. And then you're like, I think black is the one, and then I look over at Jason. He's like, I think blue is that. I'm like, oh my god, I think we're wrong. But
I didn't know what was what.
By the time you go back and forth,
once the more went back and forth, it was man,
yeah.
it was the black glass. It was awesome.
Yeah,
so good.
I mean, by the time we got to the end, the only one that was wrong in the whole thing was Durrell. So that was it. But he ended up being right though. He came back. He came back.
Yeah, he did come back. He came back and he redeemed himself. So
he did. So Brandon, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and thanks for kind of sharing a little bit of your background, what's going on with Taconic. I mean, I think this is one of those things where, we want to try to do some fun and different things for our whiskey club. And this is just, proof of another incredible whiskey that maybe some people have. And if you haven't, guys, I'm telling you, this was an incredible rye whiskey. I think anybody can drink this. I think even Adriana would appreciate this.
Oh, dude, don't go that far. Well,
maybe she's not a rye person.
She might
at all.
She might.
Anyway, so
yeah, thanks, Brandon. This was really cool to learn more about Taconic. And next time I'm in New York, I'm definitely heading up to Hudson Valley, and I'm going to visit you guys and see the operation you guys have going on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. And if, like you said, if you're ever up in New York, let me know, and we'll make sure we show you around and see everything a little bit. So.
I'll bring you some pizza.
Yeah.
make sure it's Domino's.
No, I would not dare bring Brandon Domino's. Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. Well, whatever.
All right.
So, all right. Well, hey, thanks for joining tonight. And guys, everybody, thanks for joining. Thanks everybody for allowing this to be possible. This is one of the things we want to keep doing for everybody, and have a little bit of faith in us. I think you guys do. We'll always deliver a fantastic whiskey. So thanks again, guys. We greatly appreciate it. If you're not part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, there's probably isn't a better time than to join now. So whether it's from my side or Jason's side, either way, it'll all get you in the club, and we're looking forward to more good whiskey and stuff coming. So guys, thanks again for joining.
Jason, if you guys are hanging out on the whiskey tubes tonight, head on over to 21090.
Yeah, they're on right now. So head over there and check them out, and have a good time with them. And then guys, we'll see you next time. Brandon, thanks again. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Cheers.
See y'all.
See ya.